Hey, hello everybody. This is Aid here again, doing a recording for InfoSteps 2021, the fundraiser for the Cyber Helpline and Innocent Lives Foundation, as we walk as a team to Australia and back. And we're currently somewhere in Asia. We've gone past Bangkok, so by the time you listen to this, I wonder where we shall be. And delighted today to be joined by two of the team, so we can learn a little bit more about our involvement. And this week, we're going to learn a little bit more about what the Cyber Helpline does. But first of all, hi, Nikki. Hi, Peter. Nice. Thanks for joining me for a little walk today. How are you both?
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Aid. Yeah, really good. It's nice to see you out as well.
Yeah, good afternoon. Nice to see you.
Yeah. So this is my first trip out, actually, after a 10-day post-COVID experience. So I'm not going to be sort of climbing the hills of Bristol today, taking it easy. But yeah, thanks for joining me. So as I say, we're going to find out a little bit more about the Cyber Helpline. And I think, Nikki, good to have you on board because you've had a lot of involvement with the Cyber Helpline. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what that's been like and what you've been doing?
No, sure. So I'm the marketing manager for the Cyber Helpline. Cyber Helpline is a UK charity and we're completely volunteer based. So any initiatives like this are fantastic for donations. I got involved with the Cyber Helpline fully, if you like, in January this year. But several years ago when I came into cybersecurity, as many of the people doing the InfoSteps challenge, you know, we help organisations daily that have been crippled by cyber attacks, whatever that may be at the time. And when I met Rory Innes, who's the founder of the Cyber Helpline about 4 years ago now, he was looking to put together something that helped individuals that are attacked, you know, which happens daily. There's 1.5 million individual people cyber attacks in the UK every year. So I thought it was a fantastic idea. You know, an individual gets hit with, you know, fraud, whatever it may be, they don't have the resources or the finances to, you know, employ people like ourselves to, you know, come in and help them. So yeah, so I came fully on board with it. It's been a whirlwind. Yeah, and looking forward to hopefully making a massive difference to them as a charity.
Great, thanks. And Peter, perhaps you just tell us a little about yourself, why you've joined us on the team and what this means to you.
Yeah, okay. So I was obviously involved with the caps lock mentoring, and I got to know part of the team through the leadership. And myself and Amy were talking. I like to try and keep fit anyway, but I didn't know about the charities beforehand. We had a chat, and actually a significant part of my career has been digital forensics with the police. And I would spend quite a lot of my career looking through indecent imagery and helping put the necessary bad people away. So obviously it's something very close to my heart. I was doing that sort of investigation for about 6 years. I've led a police team down in the West Country specialising in this type of work. Don't do it anymore because you can only really do it for so long. Once you see that sort of stuff, it does affect you, particularly when you get a family. But when I heard what the charities were doing, it's something that, you know, really rung true to what my beliefs are. I think we should be trying to help each other out, and particularly what the Innocent Lives Foundation do. I think that's massively fascinating, and I think what they're trying to do with the FBI and how it affects us in the UK is massively, massively important. And to do with Cyber Helpline, I do a lot of work with the clusters, cyber clusters, the old UK Cyber Forum work. So seeing what these guys are doing for individuals, again, rung true to what I believe. And equally, I suppose, the fitness side of things, being sat in front of my desk, only doing like 3,000 steps a day was getting the better of me. So doing something like this, I thought was a great opportunity to get involved. And also, equally, I've now started talking to some amazing group of people. Some people I've seen on social media for a long, long time, and now I'm talking to them on a daily basis. So it feels great to be part of that group.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. It's lovely to have you on board, especially with your background and experience on there. How are you doing with the step count at the moment? How's that going for you? You've gone from 3,000 to what kind of change have you had there?
So I've been trying to keep the running going, but I think for me, my big one was Silverstone. I went to the British Grand Prix and smashed out 113 steps in a very, very short period of time. Also, while picking up a prize that we're raffling off. So anybody's watching this, Mercedes poster, it is amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I got myself a bit of reputation for being a raffle blagger in the group, but that was possibly the best, hottest, sweatiest walk I've done for InfoSec, and to get a prize at the end of it that some lucky person can go and win. Yeah, that's brilliant.
So you did 113,000 that week. Yeah, awesome.
It was a hot weekend as well.
Yeah.
That was such a hot weekend. I don't know how you did it for 3 days. Pete. I really don't. It was 4 days actually.
4 days. It was admittedly cider fueled, so it probably did help.
All the best walking is, it seems, in our team. So, Peter, you touched on a couple of more sort of serious aspects of why we're helping raise money for these charities. And Nikki, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about what the Cyber Helpline does, maybe a couple of examples of the types of things that we're seeing, supporting there, and why it's important that this charity can help people.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's been quite a shift in the last year on the cases that we're seeing. Obviously, you know, with the pandemic and everybody locked down, cyber stalking has been massive. We've seen a massive increase in that. And to be honest, I think from the perpetrator's point of view, it's become all our wonders in technology have made it very easy to cyber stalk people. But from a victim's point of view, cyber stalking is bad enough in normal times, but during the pandemic, when you're locked down, you're shut away, you can't run, you know, can't go and stay at somebody's house. We've had some quite harrowing cases the last year, I'd say, from victims of cyber stalking. Sextortion is a massive one as well the last year. Again, there's lots of reasons for that, but I think primarily, you know, in normal times, we go out and meet people on dates, you know, we go on dating apps to go and meet people, whereas people have become a lot more sort of promiscuous and are sending videos of things that they probably wouldn't have done if they hadn't been locked down and they'd met this person in person, actually knew this person. And unfortunately then deciding, you know, maybe I'm not interested, and you know, that person's then using that content against them, blackmailing them, etc. So that's been a big shift in the last year, seeing cases like that. It's also, you know, it's other things as well. We've seen huge rises. I mean, everybody's seen them in sort of phishing and smishing attacks. And I think right at the start of the pandemic, that was really quite a lot of our volume of calls, because people were desperate for news. People wanted to know when they could see their loved ones. People wanted to know when they were going to get vaccinated, you know, all of those things. So, you know, cyber criminals, we all know, don't have any morals. So it's social engineering at its finest, isn't it? You know, you play on people's weaknesses and you find out, you know, what makes them tick. And yeah, off you go. You send out a text message, a blanket text message, and there's lots of people that clicked on those, giving people, you know, criminals access to their bank accounts, all their personal details. Yeah, that's primarily what it is. And I think the Cyber Helpline is very unique compared to anything that's been set up before, because we have a chatbot. So when you first go onto our website, it's a really intense chatbot. It's like a massive brain. And we've sort of honed that over 4 years now to answer a lot of people's questions. So a lot of people that come to the website will never actually have to speak to anybody, because we can provide them with all of the help that they need through the chatbot, the guides they need, the actions they need to take, and, you know, sort of a little bit of a lesson of what not to do in the future. And then we have the first line, like sort of frontline responders, if you like, in the helpline. And there's certain, obviously, trigger words, flag words that somebody's in trouble. It could be a risk to life. It could, you know, they might be suicidal because they don't know what to do. And they get escalated straight from the chatbot to somebody in person. And that person will be trained in whatever their situation is. So yeah, that's what we do. I mean, there's obviously lots of other small things which seem really trivial to us, like hacked emails, things like that. And to be honest, a lot of people feel a bit silly admitting that they've done something like that, especially individuals that aren't in our industry. We know it happens all the time. I'm the worst clicking on things I shouldn't click, and I work in the industry. So, I mean, one of the big things that I want to do over the next year with the Cyber Helpline is take away that stigma. You know, it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. You are going to get some kind of a cyber attack against you at some point. So one of my main aims over the next year is to take away the stigma of being hit with a cyber attack. It's not anything to be embarrassed about. Don't just clam up and not tell anybody. Talk about it, and get help, because you know, we are here to help you. We don't all volunteer all of these hours for people to hide away and, you know, be really worried about it. So yeah, that's the cyber helpline, really.
Amazing. That's super interesting. I love the fact that it's supporting members of the public, right? And it's not, yeah, a lot of what we do, yeah, yourself, Peter, myself, and the team, we're sort of working quite often during our day jobs supporting corporations and companies, but actually this is having an impact on people like our brothers, sisters, parents, the kids, you know, so it's nice to be able to sort of support those, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's anybody over the age of 13. So it's anybody in the UK over the age of 13. If they need help, then we're there.
I find it interesting as well how obviously as a team, not only have you got trained professionals from the industry who are sort of supporting people who phone in, but you've developed and used technology to work smarter, like the chatbot to help people out. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and we've got a huge threat intelligence department as well, which gathers all the intel from any of the attacks that we see, which, you know, there's work going on in the background on that to see how we can not make it profitable, but how we can use that for good, so how we can use that further in the industry to help people. So yeah, and obviously we've got the student placements that come through as well for them to gain the experience, which ultimately helps them get a position within cybersecurity. So all round, you know, it sort of ticks lots of boxes, and we're always looking for volunteers, always.
Right. Thanks. What about you, Peter? There, I mean, anything there resonate with you, with your experience, especially with the stuff you've been doing there about like the importance of why we have those charities?
I think for most times that is stigma. I think that's the big one. The sort of people I had to deal with in my job were already victims, and by the time it's come to me, it's already escalated quite substantially. And I suppose we spend a lot of time proving how it got there in the first place. And you're going from everything from the technical, why has an operating system done its thing, to why has a human being done its thing. And quite often you try and blame the technology. You know, I accidentally sent picture A. And I think sometimes it's embarrassment. And it's a cultural thing. With businesses, I think they're quicker to accept the embarrassment because there's normally a price tag. When it comes to human beings at the end of this, by the way, I picked a real terrible path to walk down. Human beings, I think it's a lot more difficult to, you know, tell them it's okay. They're not experts in this area. We're here to help them. Sorry. I think, I mean, I suppose I got myself stuck. On the grand scheme of things, you know, teaching businesses is a hell of a lot easier than teaching human beings, because I think there's an element of accepting, accepting that the issue has happened, less than they clicked on the wrong thing or they've clicked on a suspicion link. You know, I get it today when people say, "Pete, I've clicked on the Royal Mail link because apparently I owed them $1.99." It's like, right, okay. It's very, very difficult. I mean, I no longer work for a consultancy. You know, I work for an international organisation, and actually, the same problems I was facing with all the clients, I'm facing with these same people who are very, very intelligent people. But I think really it doesn't matter where you're at. The other sort of thing that sort of resonates with me with this sort of thing is I've been in courtrooms with these victims, and there's nothing more uncomfortable than being sat there with a victim of child abuse, victim of cyber child abuse, and you're sat in the same witness protection room together. Because you sit with other people and go, yeah, I unfortunately know exactly what you've been through. Obviously, textually, contextually, you know, unfortunately, you've seen the text, you've seen the conscripts, and you've seen the pictures, and you feel incredibly sorry for these people because they don't have that right education, or again, the embarrassment to go, do you know what? This is wrong, even on the cyber front. And I think that's my main residence. You know, giving people the right tools so they can not be victimised on either front. On personal, because they clicked on the wrong link, or B, because there's another human being trying to use technology to make them do stuff. all that sort of things. I think the volunteer work that people do and the volunteers that get involved with both charities, I think is phenomenal, quite frankly. I think what they do is absolutely amazing. I think more people get to know that they exist, the better. And now I found the right path, so I'm not getting stung by nettles anymore.
I'm sure if we'd have to send out a rescue party for you there.
I thought I knew where I was going, but I clearly didn't know where I was going.
I think what Pete just said there is really important as well. I think it still fascinates me now to this day that individual cyber attacks, and especially along sort of the type of the crimes that Pete's talking about around sort of online crime and things like that, it's getting individual people that aren't in the industry to actually realise that is a crime. If I send an explicit photo of myself to somebody on whatever social media platform it's on, or WhatsApp text message, I've consented to send that to that person to view. The minute that person then forwards that image on to somebody else, that is a crime. He hasn't had my permission, or they haven't had my permission to do that. I've sent it, and it's trying to change sort of the way that people view it, because people don't realise that is a crime if somebody's done that. And I've seen it happen loads when I was younger. People, girlfriends send images and they end up in group chats and things like that, and the subject of pub banter on a Friday evening. That's a crime now, and it needs to be treated. People, there's not a lot of education around to let people know that that's a crime. And if people don't know that, they're not going to report it. They just deal with the humiliation, the embarrassment on their own and silently, worried that their families are going to see it, etc. Where actually there is a legal process that you can go down, and that person can be convicted for that. And hopefully that will make that perpetrator and his whole group, or their whole group of friends and family, think, God, I didn't realise that's a crime. And we have to look at it from that point of view as well. I think the perpetrator probably doesn't realise that what they're doing is a crime either. It's all around education.
Well, it's additionally on that as well. I mean, again, sending a picture from an adult and sending it to a child and trying to plead that you did it by accident is, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Excuse. That child doesn't have a clue what to do with that image. Tell mum and dad, and what do mum and dad do? They might not have the education to know what to do with it. No. And then they'll tell a police officer, and then it's not continues until you actually get to someone who goes, that is wrong. And then you've got to give advice back up that chain to make sure that child isn't affected moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that's important as well, because at the moment our judicial system, I believe, does let people down. And I keep saying stuff at the moment. There's something going on at the moment, and it's around child prostitution. And they keep that's not a correct term either. Those kind of things really upset me, because it's calling it a child prostitute. It makes it sound like the child has some kind of say in it. They don't. The judicial system needs to change massively to keep up with the ever-changing technology that there is in the world, and unfortunately it doesn't, and a lot of victims are massively let down.
This is a super interesting chat here, and what's sort of standing out for me from what you're saying is about the removal of the shame of the people that are victims of these crimes, and for them to sort of feel like having sovereignty of their own data, of their own their right for privacy, their right for protection, and having that protected by law, and sort of de-shaming that, I suppose. Then we get to hear more of what's happening, which then allows us to have more data to then go after changing legislation and protecting these people more, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it starts young. We should be educating our children from the minute we put a computer, which is what a smartphone is, in their hand. From the minute that we give our children those, we should be educating from that age of what's wrong, what's socially acceptable, what's criminally acceptable, not acceptable, and and about their digital footprint, and what they put out there about themselves, and what is right and what is wrong. And until we start doing that, we are basically handing 10 and 11-year-olds a computer, which gives them access to the whole world.
It's spending time with the parents going, yeah, okay, they've got a right to privacy, but you've got a right to protect them as well. And there's tools available at very little expense. Apple provide tools, Google provides some really good tools, and you can protect your children that way without affecting their privacy. So it's having that balance as well. I spend a lot of time educating fellow parents. I've got young kids, and I sort of said, I don't mind them having a smartphone, but these are the conditions. You do what you will, but I know where that phone is. I know what messages are going out, and I've also got a safety filter on there. Still not affecting their privacy, but it's helped supporting their safety. And again, education process, helping the parents, helping the kids.
Yeah.
This like it feels like we've got quite a lot of knowledge and resources about this topic that we can support others with. I wonder if as part of this uploading of this walk and talk, we can put a couple of links to maybe some of these tools that you're talking about, maybe a couple of places that we can help to share around. Sounds like you've got a few insights like that could be useful, couldn't it?
Definitely, and I think it's a shame because sorry, Peter, the NCSD have loads of really good resources for schools if you go on their website and look. And it's, again, that's down to education, because the school teachers, they're teachers. They teach geography, they teach history, they teach English. They're not equipped to deal with this, but it's such a simple link to follow. Send the PDF out to all the children, send the PDF out to all the parents. At least do something, because we need to.
Great. Well, so anyone listening, we'll put the links to these resources down into the comments, and if you please do take those and share those around your own social media, and we can start to spread the word about some of those guidelines. Thanks, Nikki and Peter. So Peter, you mentioned about you being the king of raffle blagging. Just moving it back to why we're here. We're here to sort of raise some cash, because as Nikki sort of suggested, we've got a backlog of volunteers, and it sounds like we've got a massive backlog of people that need support from these volunteers. So it feels like what we've got to do is get the cash in to support the training of these volunteers, to support the victims. So Peter, you've got some ideas, you've got some raffles, you're blagging. How can people help us?
Yeah, sure. So we've got some amazing prizes in the bank, so to speak, over the next coming weeks. The first one we've thrown out there is a picture of the W11 Mercedes-Benz, arguably one of the most successful Formula One cars in the modern era. The chap who designed it is a guy called David Johnson. These pictures sell for £100 plus. And all you've got to do is donate a £5. And that £5 gets you a ticket. One ticket to win a £100 picture. And just to make sure you've got the right tweet, it's 5 tickets for 20 quid. So you get a bonus ticket if you donate £20 on the website. But we've got some amazing prizes coming up. That not all cybersecurity. We do have some of the volunteers have pulled up some prizes themselves. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say without Nikki sort of pointing the finger at me, going telling me to shut up. How much am I allowed to say, Nikki?
Very like. I set a 50 grand target for this initiative.
Yeah.
Right,
Peter said he's going to dance to shave his head or something. I can't remember what you said you were going to do.
so essentially, the other big prizes we've got semi-final tickets for the Rugby League World Cup at Arsenal. And another prize we've got coming up is a limited edition Gucci necklace supplied by Berry's Jewelers in Leeds. And you will even get a certificate of authentication and the number for said Gucci certificate necklace. So we've got some really good prizes, and I've got a couple up my sleeve as well. I'm still working on, and I'm also speaking to a couple of rather large sporting establishments to try and milk them for a little bit more, and hopefully something from the music business as well. So my little naughty trick in my sleep is I used to do radio and TV, believe it or not. This place did go on TV every now and again. And I used to do the match announcing for a number of rugby league clubs back in the day before I moved down south. So I've got contacts, and in the radio, I used to do interviews of headliners at massive music festivals. I used to spend a lot of time backstage with bands. So at the moment, I am trying to milk some of those big bands. I can't say who they are yet, but if they come through for me, hopefully we'll have a few bites for their merchandise. It's probably the best word I'm going to say for now. I know folk, and I'm quite happy to ask them. Amy asked me the other day, she goes, how do you do it? I think it was Nikki actually asked me, and I just ask.
Yeah,
okay, let's go straight in and ask. I know you, I've worked with you, give me something. It's not the way I work.
Sounds like here's our opportunity to ask the viewers and listeners some things that we want.
Any prizes at all would help us massively. So yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be able to top Peter, but yeah, I'd like everyone to give it a bloody good go. And just sponsor us, you know. I was probably doing less than 1,000 steps a day. I walked from my desk at home to the fridge for snacks, because I became a 5-year-old during the day, and then back and forth to the fridge for wine in the evening. So it's got me out of the house and we're walking, but it is a bloody big commitment to walk the amount of steps that we've got to do in the 6-month period that we've got to, along with our day jobs and everything else that we do. So yeah, just sponsor us. Do you know what I mean? I worked out yesterday, if everybody on my LinkedIn sponsored me 20 quid, that would be over £20,000. So yeah, it's not a lot of money. It's, you know, it's a couple of drinks at the bar, and think of all the money that you haven't spent at the bar in the last year. Yeah,
that's exactly it, isn't it?
Money.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us some money, get involved with us, interact with our posts, buy us a virtual drink through the Just Giving page, because yeah, like Nikki, like you said, we've signed without, probably a lot of us, without really giving it a lot of thought.
No.
Like Peter said, he didn't really know the charities. I didn't either. I sort of said, yeah, I'll sign up to that. I've ended up signing up to 6 months, walking a sort of to hit my target, a minimum of 11,000 steps a day, to basically hit 2 million steps. And we're only like, you know, halfway through that, or not even halfway through. It's we need the help. We need to see the money coming in. We need to see sort of people getting involved beside us. And
it's good fun at the moment, because the weather, all right, it's quite changeable. That's why I have to keep stopping. But it's good fun at the moment. But come October, end of October, that last month is going to be miserable. And if we're still chasing a 50k target, yeah, it's not going to be terribly motivating. But if we're nearly there, that will just power us all on right the way through to the end of November, and then we have a massive, great big party together and never walk again.
Yeah, we can go back to the fridge, can't we?
Just in time for all those mince pies.
Exactly.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We start it all again next year. Okay, fantastic. I want a big thank you both for your involvement as part of the team. It's great to be on it with you. Thank you today for making the Cyber Helpline and much wider issues here come alive for people, to sort of make it just make it feel a little bit more important why we're doing this.
And I think what we'll do off the back of this, Pete, you and me, maybe write a blog around that, around sort of self-help and what, you know, trying to take away the stigma, and we'll post that out on the InfoSteps website as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, that's infosteps.uk. I will post a link to that down in the comments, where you can find our donation page. But also you can find a page on how to join us as well. If you want to do a leg of the journey with us and join us whilst walking, then please do. That will be lovely to hear. We've got a few corporates that are doing that already, who, you know, I will be offering a chance to join on the walk and talk with us, and so we can learn more about what their teams are doing and the personalities there. So please get involved. We'd love to hear from you. And Pete and Nikki, thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Looking forward to walking with you again further down the line.
Thanks so much, Aid. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.